You're listening to the Connect Church podcast featuring the pastoral staff of Connect Church in Tupelo, Mississippi. This podcast delivers biblical truths, hot topic discussions, and encouragement you need on your daily journey to live like Christ.
The Human Resources Department requires that I be available.
Not sure if the invite cards are nifty, but the mustache is definitely not.
He's in charge of our children. What are we doing?
I don't.
Here are your hosts, Terry Pierce, Andrew Pierce, and Tanner Stahl.
Thank you all for being here. Let's get started.
Yes, let's get started here on the Connect Church podcast, episode number 13. Lucky number 13. Is 13 anybody's lucky number?
I don't know. I've got a question though.
Okay.
Is we're talking about post-COVID? Is there such a thing as post-Easter?
Post-Easter? Well, I mean, that would be after Easter.
Yeah. So this is what we're in season we're in today.
We're
so
after Easter,
post-Easter,
but before Memorial Day.
Yeah.
You know,
or Mother's Day.
Jesus is still alive, so it's always Easter.
Wow.
I think we just call it spring.
Spring. Yeah.
You know. All right. Anyways, well, we are glad you're listening to the Connect Church podcast here, episode number 13. You can find it on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, SoundCloud, YouTube, wherever. Look for it. Like it, share it, subscribe to it, and we can get the message out about the Connect Church podcast. So, yeah, Terry, we are post-Easter. That's right. Good job.
Good.
Post-Easter. Easter was great here at the church, I thought. People always are like, "Oh, 3 services. I bet you guys are worn out." And yeah, it's different, but it was good.
It was. I made it through much better than I thought, so I wouldn't want to do that every week. But it was.
No,
good.
I definitely don't want to do it every week. It was funny though. The 8:15 service. 8:15 is that when it started?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 8:15. The first service in the morning, like we kicked off that first song, and we're all gung ho, ready to go celebrate Easter, and there's like 30 people in the audience,
Oh, it filled up.
Oh, I know. I was going to say, but halfway through that song, it was like 70 people walked in.
Oh, yeah.
And it was just like mass entrance. Like maybe we should have started at 8:20.
We wound up having a balance, though. It was first and third services were almost equal, the number. And then the second service, of course, was packed out. We know that one's always there. But and big shout out, I give her a rough time over Kat and, the cat lady, Amanda Benefield. But, man, the food in the green room back here was awesome.
That's right. Neil and Amanda, bless their hearts, they provided breakfast for all the early attendees here, the media team, the band, the singers, and anyone who's here got some awesome breakfast. That sausage ball.
Did you know that Neil filled with the orange juice?
No, I didn't know that.
They even asked if they had like cameras back here in the green room because they said, if you can, please pull the footage. But Neil and Amanda, we wanted to thank you for all the goodies at Children's Church. Oh, wait.
We don't care about the children.
We have a children's ministry.
I didn't know that happened. I didn't know that happened.
Now I'm bitter
for Neil.
all of a sudden that I didn't know they brought all this stuff, and I'm like, hold on, what are you talking about? They brought goodies for everybody.
Oh, it was good.
It was
Strawberries,
really
good. At the
muffins.
Children's Church.
Yeah. I didn't know that about Neil. I'm sorry to hear that, Neil, but I did notice that one of the orange juice containers had a big dent in it. And I guess
he fell on 2 jugs of orange juice.
Oh, God bless him. God bless him. No, we don't have any cameras. The only camera is over there in the corner, and it's not going to catch a whole lot of anything for that matter. But anyways, yeah, Easter services was great, and you debuted a new sermon series called Love Reigns. We've been hearing about it for about a month now, and it started off pretty good. What was your overall thought of it?
I really, first of all, let me just pause, and then we got to give a shout out. So, I hate doing this, but it's, just got to do that. So, got a big shout out to Alan Rooker and Tanner Stahl.
What's up?
Wrote a new song that was just impressed the socks off of us. You got to go listen to our church podcast, and you got to, we got sermons. You got to go to our website and listen to the service. But anyway, just go check that out. Love Rain song that these two guys wrote and sang. I didn't even know anything about it. That literally just summarizes the whole sermon series. So big shout out to you two guys for real. That is a great theological song. It's very just uplifting, and Andrew will be glad to note that Tanner turned it from a really twangy Southern gospel song into a very stylish and
very
contemporary song that sounds really good.
I like the version you did on Sunday. I don't even need to hear
No,
it.
there was no twangy version. But we could make one if you want. But
no, we're good.
we did that. When you gave us a sermon series. It was back in February, I think, is when you ordered all the stuff, and I just took a synopsis of what you had told me, and I took it to Alan. I said, Alan, get to work, buddy.
That's impressive.
We're going to write this song, and it wasn't 2 weeks later. He had it ready to go.
That's crazy.
And we tweaked it after that a little bit, but we've been sitting on it, and we didn't tell anybody because if it sucked, like, where'd that song come from? Throw that in the trash.
We got that song in the mail from Brother Terry, and it just really, it was, which does really point out to the fact of what God is doing here is that, we do all of this stuff planning in September, and the church is praying, and we're praying and fasting, blah, blah, blah. And so, when you get to actually do ministry the way that we do it here is that, I'm an old 18 guy, that TV show, but, I love it when a plan comes together and you watch God and all of this opposition we went through with, Satan attacking you with swelling and, and
that's coming up in the worst.
I got you. And so fingers swollen and everything else, and all this bad stuff that happened last week is that you watch God just say, watch what I can do on Sunday. I can shut Satan down. And so the sermon series, the songs, the day, fabulous day, over 500 people heard the gospel of Jesus Christ here on our campus in the midst of COVID. So it was a great day.
And with the egg hunt. I know you talked about that Sunday, but there was a great turnout for the egg hunt.
Yeah.
I thought more people there than I thought would be there.
Yeah, over 1,500. We estimated maybe close to 2,000. And again, honestly, just a big shout out to the congregation. Our folks were there serving, and even though we couldn't do a lot of the stuff that we normally did, we appreciate Parks and Rec, Ron Swanson, and all the crew over there. And so they did a great job with.
Well, you're welcome for getting to use our parks. Thank you.
So Leslie Nopes was awesome. So anyway,
you've already paid for it. You don't need my permission.
But it was a great day of being able to share the gospel, and so and Christy Beard and the team did a great job.
Yeah, Christy got all this together in 2-3 weeks maybe and stuff like that. That was impressive. So thank you, Christy.
And shout out to the community for coming. So,
Absolutely.
in the midst of COVID and man, everybody just did great. And so it was a beautiful day.
Some lady was out there waving her flag.
Yeah, she
that
did.
Was cool.
Jesus saves.
I didn't understand the Star of David being on there, but I mean, it looked pretty.
Yeah.
So.
Well, Jesus was Jewish.
Yeah. I mean, but you just don't see that in today's day and age about, combining those two. All right. Anyways. All right. So, Andrew, tell us about what you took away from. What was your big takeaway from the sermon? And I'll get into the points here in just a minute. But
I know a lot of it was a little bit different version of an Easter message. I really liked it. As far as not just focusing on the generic, I know this is going to sound terrible, but the generic story that we all know and we've heard of, Jesus stepped out of the tomb.
Jesus arose?
Right. I mean, and whether you've grown up in church or whether you, this was one of your first Easters and stuff, somewhere along the way, you've probably heard that story that Jesus, he died on a cross, he rose 3 days later. I think what I really liked about it is just that overall it was very practical to our lives. It was very applicable. I love the fact that he used the Great Commission as the text for, Easter, Resurrection Sunday.
Had never done that before. That's 30 years.
Yeah. I mean, and I even read a figure the other day that said probably, I think it was almost 60% of regular churchgoers had never heard of the Great Commission. Mm-hmm. So just in case you were here Sunday or you don't know what that is Matthew chapter 28, verses 16 through 20, where that was our proof text for Sunday and everything.
It'd make a great movie title.
Yes, as the Great Commission.
That's right.
Absolutely. But one of the things that I loved was, I love the Charles Swindoll quote where he said, "No longer did they merely believe Jesus could be their king, Israel's long-awaited Messiah, because they were wanting this powerful political person to be their king, but now his glorious resurrection made them certain of it. He didn't overthrow the government. He didn't do all these things. He changed their lives for then and now." And I mean, that's what we were kind of transcending to the congregation was this wasn't just an event that happened a little over 2,000 years ago. You have a mission. You have a purpose. Because Jesus has risen from the dead and given you new life, you need to do something with it in the here and the now to make a difference and impact for Christ. And I love that Brother Terry kind of expounded upon that.
A different kind of revolution is what Jesus brought.
Absolutely.
All right. And I loved your first point as the worship leader, if you will. A disciple worships through their doubts. And then you had a couple quotes on the screen that I wanted to hit, but I'll let you get into that here in just a second. A disciple worships through their doubts. Expound on that.
Yeah, I think that just when Andrew was saying too is that leading into the message, I've never preached on the mission of the church, and for me, it was a great day of how the Holy Spirit took the text and really just couldn't you just sense it, guys? That man, it was like everything we've been doing at Connect Church, all the battles, all the opposition from the enemy, and yet today it just came together. It was just like this is what we do here, and so as folks will come back for the next 3 weeks to hear the rest of the sermon series, is that we're building off of that idea that this is what Christ, the revolution he brought, is discipleship, and we were able to tie together everything that we eat, drink, and sleep here and do all throughout the week, including the worship. And yet we know that we're going to be faithful to worship God even through the doubts, through the hard times. You're getting ready to tell your worst of the week, and just the opposition and things that we go there. But Jesus, and I love the fact that in verse 16 he was talking to the 11 disciples. Obviously Judas was gone, and as he appears to them on the mountain, and I know as a worship leader you had to love that part of it, that probably scholars estimate about 500 people to gathered. Most of them had not seen him at that point. And then they were in awe, and so they worshipped him. But then the phrase, I teased and joked that we're Baptists, that we're on the mountain too, because some doubted that it's in the text. And yet it just reminds us that, guess what? In ministry, in Christian faith, just because we know this story, like Andrew said, and we're familiar with it, doesn't mean that we still don't have our seasons of doubt and we get frustrated. But then we gave that definition of faith. Faith is when the unexplainable meets the undeniable, and that was my favorite part of the sermon, because our faith is not in our circumstances, it's not in just on the mountaintop experience, but it's in a person who is going to be with us in the mountain and in the valley.
Yeah, and I kudos to you for even getting through those two quotes, because it was hard enough to type on the screen without messing them up, and you said them and explained them perfectly. So that was
trust me, I practiced that like 10 times.
I bet
week,
you
so
did.
Yes, yeah.
I bet you did. Anything else you got on that particular topic?
No, I do think it was cool just that I actually had a teenager come to me about a week ago just struggling with this, and they're a very intellectual person and stuff, so they know their stuff. And this person, they were telling me, they said, I've grown up in church, one church before and here and stuff. And they said, but I struggle with doubt so much in this. And I love that explanation of the unexplainable meets the undeniable and stuff. And that's where our faith, the rubber meets the road. Like, you can't deny that this has happened. He's appeared before you, and this has to impact no matter what your circumstances are telling you, no matter what's going on in your life, no matter the spiritual warfare, no matter where you're at. This has to impact. This is undeniable truth, right? Literally standing before you in a person, not just in an idea or a thought or a circumstance. It's in a person, and that's what, that settles it.
And then to top that off, we brought in the two testimonies of Chris Moorman. They lost a baby last year, and just church life and being shut down, and for where they were at and stuff, and then come here to this church just because our people were out sharing their faith, making disciples, and Chris's testimony and Stephanie's an amazing story of how God is reshaping their life in a person, and they're finding Jesus in the midst of their doubts, and then Jeannie Meek. Johns, and so had went through that where had lost a husband suddenly, and goes through that season of just being by herself, and then God sends John into her life, and John and Jeannie are serving in incredible ways, and to hear their story of how they both have met Jesus in the midst of their circumstances and changed their future.
All right, and then moving on, the resurrection gives you a different perspective on life and also gives your life purpose. And that just ties into, in my opinion, the whole doubt thing, dealing with the doubt. Well, if when you sincerely believe and are living a life on mission, well, here it is. The resurrection gives you that purpose, and it gives you a different perspective where we don't have to doubt anymore because of our faith in the things that are unexplainable, undeniable, like you said.
Yeah. And I love that, and that's where discipleship comes in, and that's what Jesus was saying, guys, you've got to realize life's not about you, so go and make disciples. And that discipleship process that is where you roll up your sleeves and life gets and Christianity gets a little messy, that's what really gives you purpose. That, whatever you're going through, I'm dealing with, my parents right now, and it's just, really tough situation. I talked to both of them yesterday, and, they have the diagnosis of Alzheimer's and all of those things. And yet it's okay. Jesus is going to be with us. He opens up doors, and the resurrection gives us hope and promise. One day they'll be healed and we'll get past this. And you've got to let the resurrection affect every area of your life.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, that's good. That's a good wrap up, a place to wrap it up, I think. And give us a little teaser for next. I guess, so you're not preaching this coming Sunday.
We'll get Clint Morgan, and it is going to be phenomenal service. Man, first of all, we just need to really just let our congregation, this happens once a year. Tanner and the missions team and the Go Board, Global Outreach Board here at Connect Church, is going to have a supper. Bring a covered dish, and we're going to have, different cultures. We're going to celebrate Mexico, Cuba, and Japan, and it's going to be a phenomenal Saturday night, and you're going to hear the stories of our missionaries. If you are going on a mission trip, if you've ever been on a missions trip, if you're going with Andrew into Del Rio this summer with the teens, all of the parents, all of these groups, you've got to be here Saturday night, and we're just going to have fun. It's going to be a fellowship, and you're going to hear the story. Clint's going to share a little bit, and then Sunday morning we're going to share with our congregation. I'm getting pumped about it. Is this whole love reigns in our mission, and we're going to see what that Matthew 28 16 looks like.
I wish everybody could see Terry's hands right now because he's really excited.
That's how I talk.
His
man.
hands are going everywhere. Now you can't see mine, but
I did not spill the water on my iPad. So that is very good.
He's twisting light bulbs, pushing walls, everything over here.
But to go back to that, you do absolutely want to hear Brother Clint. He's a dynamic speaker.
Absolutely.
And his heart and his passion.
This guy lived in Africa for years.
Yeah.
He's got tremendous stories, and it's going to bless your heart, Sue.
Yeah, so we're excited about that. All right, anything else you guys want to talk about? Wrap it up here before we get into the second segment of the podcast.
If you were here Sunday, come back. We're going to celebrate it again this Sunday.
And we've got 2 more sermons after that, and we're going to help you see that the resurrection changes your past in week 3, and the resurrection gives you a future as well, and it changes your future.
Yes, I'm looking forward to it. And our benediction song is, of course, going to be the Love Reigns theme throughout the whole thing. So,
dude.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Maybe I know we've already started another song for the Philippians series coming back. So
okay,
kind of lit a fire under us. You know what I'm saying?
Well, last week you forgot we were doing Philippians
I know,
again. So that's impressive that you're catching up. So yeah,
that's it. All right, well, let's move on. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back for the second segment of the Connect Church podcast.
Have you been looking for a place to call home? Need a place that makes you feel welcome and valued while at the same time growing spiritually in Christ and biblical truths? At Connect Church, our mission is all about loving God, loving people, and making disciples. When we gather together, there's a spirit of worship, a spirit of kindness, and a spirit of welcoming to anyone and everyone who's seeking God's will and truth in their lives. We invite you to visit during one of our 2 Sunday services to discover how Connect Church can help you grow in your relationship with Jesus Christ. Our friendly and spirit-filled worship environment is just the place for you. Visit Connect Church this Sunday during our 9 o'clock or 10:30 a.m. services, located at 1650 North Veterans Boulevard in Tupelo, Mississippi. Or you can check out our live stream on our Facebook page or our website at www.triconnect.church. Again, that's www.triconnect.church. We look forward to connecting with you.
And we're back on the Connect Church podcast. Thank you for listening. Thank you for staying tuned in with us through that promo. That Daniel Tucker did a great job on that promo. I was going to go ahead and give him some credit there. All right, so we are here.
I didn't know he could read. So
I know, I didn't either.
Redneck Morgan Freeman.
Yeah, so, all right, if you've been listening to the podcast, you know we've been doing a greatest TV show of all time bracket, and over the weekend, it was my fault. I failed to get the next round moving because it was kind of a busy weekend.
Yeah, it was a busy weekend.
Okay? It was kind of busy.
We had a couple things going on.
And you had a few distractions in your life.
I had a few distractions you'll hear about later. Anyways, we are down to four 4 TV shows left, and we had, in my opinion, a major upset. I did not see the Jeffersons taking out the Andy Griffith Show.
No, I did not know that.
The
Wow, first I've heard of that.
Jeffersons took out the Andy Griffith Show by
Moving
about 10
on
points.
up.
That's right. And then King of Queens took out the Big Bang Theory. So there's
Yeah.
your
Yes.
I'm totally with that.
yeah. So there's your see. I would totally go to
No.
Big Bang Theory. I voted for Big Bang Theory.
No way.
No.
I love King of Queens, but of the two, that's my favorite. So, anyways, so now
I live with Carrie.
on the left on the left side of the bracket, you've got the Jeffersons versus the King of Queens, and then on the right side of the bracket, Psych took out the Golden Girls. We have a huge
Chuck Williams.
We've got a huge Psych following in our church, so they're going to win the whole thing. I'm telling you right now.
I'm telling you, if Chuck Williams was in Georgia with the new law, he would not be able to do this.
No doubt. Anyway, so Psych is in the Final Four, and then Friends took out the Brady Bunch by a 20-point margin. I think that's going to be a good matchup, Psych versus Friends.
Oh, I'm voting right now. Chuck, you're going down.
Yeah, well, you're probably going to have to vote 100 times to outdo Chuck, so I'm just going to throw that out there right now.
We're going to have to get a new voting law for Chuck soon.
The entire media team loves Psych, so they're on it. They're
Skylar,
getting it, so.
that's true.
The last I checked, I posted it this morning. Today's Tuesday. I posted it like 8:30 this morning. It had already had 100-something clicks.
Oh, wow.
So you better get on it if you're going to go for Friends.
I've done like 10 since you've been talking.
There you go. Well, you're still about 90 short. So,
So who's in the Final Four?
Anyway, so you got the Jeffersons versus King of Queens.
Okay.
And then Psych versus Friends.
Oh, interesting.
All right,
Did not see that.
Yeah, Thursday. I'm gonna pull that down Thursday if I can remember to, and then we'll have the finals over the weekend. The next podcast we'll talk about the winner.
Where's MASH?
Yeah, MASH didn't even get submitted.
Still bitter.
Didn't get submitted. So, anyways, so
I'm
that's
not
the
bitter.
TV bracket update. So check that out on our Facebook page. You can vote as many times as you want to in that for your favorite show. And then, of course, today's Tuesday. So last night was the basketball championship, and that concluded our ESPN bracket challenge group. Which we had a winner in the
This is not even funny.
Yeah, who picked the best bracket and it was the most accurate. Who had the most accurate? When you put it in that perspective, who picked the most accurate bracket? It was Bailey Riggs.
No, this is not even
who
right.
literally had no idea the championship was even playing last night.
She doesn't even know what basketball's round.
I told her, I said we might call her during the podcast. Should we get on the phone and get her explanation?
Oh, we definitely should.
Should we do that? I've never done it before, so we could try it and see. We'll see if we can make.
She's
this
never
work.
been to a game in her life. She doesn't like crowds.
She doesn't like people.
The crazy thing is that she had UCLA in the Final Four, and she was a half court.
Nuts.
She was a half court bucket shot away from having them in the final game.
Weren't they
too.
like a pick-in team or whatever
Yes,
they call
they
it?
were a play-in
play-in team. Yeah.
They were.
She
a
even
play-in
said, she goes,
team.
I feel like I've heard that name before, so they just seem like winners.
I'm going to shoot myself right now.
Yeah. Well, they are the winningest basketball program of all time.
Well, yeah,
So
in the
that's
70s.
acceptable.
50 years ago.
Anyways, and then it was if Gonzaga had won last night, then Chuck would have won the bracket contest. Who also doesn't pay attention to college basketball.
He has played basketball though. I've played with him. So he's terrible.
Yeah. I don't think she's going to answer. I'm trying to ring here, but
Well, she's probably working.
she's probably at work. But so what?
She works from home, right?
I don't know. All right. Anyways, so let's get into the best and the worst of the weekend.
It was the best of times. It was the worst of times.
Wait. Which was it?
This is the worst.
Simply the best.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Terry. Start us off, buddy. Give us your best.
I am
weekend.
totally deferring to you. My best. We didn't. Oh yeah, best. Yes, bester was. It was my bester. My bester was Easter. I can't talk now, but after 3 sermons in a row, Easter has got to be my best day. So it was awesome. Just so thankful for our church family. The attendance, over 500 folks, and just it was a great day, a great spirit, and man, we had so many guests that were here. New people. Half a dozen new families that I've never even met before. And so just appreciate everybody. So proud of our church, bringing folks in the coffee bar to greeters, welcome center. Just shout out to music, children's, Andrew. So just props to everybody.
Yeah, Easter was a great weekend. It was one of the great weekends that we've had in a long, long time. Andrew, what's your best of this week?
I would have to say probably watching Nora at her very first Easter egg hunt. She only got like 7 different Easter egg hunts this weekend.
That's a lot.
So, she's not spoiled whatsoever. But actually, I think the first one we did with her was She was sick, so she missed her daycare one and all that kind of stuff. But the first one was at the Connect Church Easter egg hunt. And I had a pep talk with her. So we get out, we're lined up. I had to do the prayer, and then we dismissed it. So I lined her up, and of course, like John Paul and Dalton and some of these other kids that are like similar in age and stuff were all there. I said, Nora, I want you to say this in Christ's love. If they go for an egg that you're going to pick up, you throw an elbow.
Knock them down.
You curb stomp them. You throat punch them. You do whatever, girl. Because, they can't eat any of the candy yet. Like, she can't have like Tootsie Rolls and all that stuff yet. She's one.
Were there prize eggs over there?
There was.
Okay, see?
We got 2 prize eggs.
Oh,
2 different prize eggs. It was awesome. She was
like,
a pro.
I
She
feel like
needed
you
no
shouldn't
training.
have got the prize eggs as working here.
Well, I'm going to be completely honest. We went and got the prize eggs and everything else. And Ashton was like, well, should we give one to a kid? Because we got 2. We're like, should we give one to a kid?
That
I said,
do.
no. They didn't. I'm Ricky Bobby. You first, you last. They didn't pick one up. Why do I have to? No, we did end up giving one of them to, I think it was just a kid, a visitor and stuff that was out there. But she needed no training whatsoever on how to do this Easter egg hunt. She had her Easter basket.
Gone.
She was gone. She was like, these are mine. She didn't have to throat punch anybody, but she was
good.
willing.
That's good.
She was willing. So.
And the great thing is that now that they've got their dishwasher fixed, they can wash the eggs in the dishwasher.
Oh my gosh.
I thought we were going to get through a podcast without saying dishwasher.
Just to clarify, there was 2 podcasts where I mentioned the dishwasher. But evangelistically speaking, of course, Terry had to say that it was
right. That's right.
everyone.
My best of and this is, I promise you, I don't promise you, but this is the last I'll talk about basketball for the podcast foreseeable future because basketball season's over. But I couldn't decide what my best was going to be. That UCLA Gonzaga game, that ending.
Wow, that was amazing.
Or the Charles Barkley video of his.
Oh, yeah.
So, but I'm going to spare you the political stuff, and I'll go with the radio calls. So I pulled the audio from the radio. From the Gonzaga radio, the UCLA radio, and then a special one that's really good. So listen to set it up, UCLA is a huge underdog. Gonzaga's undefeated, of course, and they're in overtime. UCLA hits a bucket to tie the game. There's 3 seconds left.
And it's not just even that. It was seriously like the best basketball game. I rarely ever say this because you know how picky I am with basketball, but it was like the most perfect, well-played game.
Yes,
I mean, from start to finish, like 15 lead changes,
right?
But both teams just left it all on the court. They played well, almost no mistakes, and just well executed.
They did. So I'm going to play you the Gonzaga, the Homer radio, Gonzaga IMG radio with Tim Hudson and Adam Morrison. Listen to this clip.
Adam Morrison,
remember
wow,
Adam Morrison?
yes.
He's the color analyst on this
Stop
clip.
it, I did not know that.
So listen, this is, they're watching
that
this
is an
live
ugly
and broadcasting. Yeah,
on the right side of the floor, defended by Kispert now. Drives, leans in, the runner comes up short. Juzang though rebounds and puts it in. We're tied at 90. 3 seconds left. Here's Suggs the other way. Pull up 3 for the win. Yes! Yes! Seniors of the championship game. He knocked from 40 at the buzzer. Yes!
Imagine being your team and that happening.
That's epic.
Now
that's
you get
classic.
to hear the UCLA broadcast. Okay, here's the UCLA broadcast.
Juzang with 8, with 7, gets to the elbow, a floater, line drive, no, gets his own rebound, scores off the glass, 3.3 to go. Here's Suggs at midcourt, 2, 1, a 32-footer. Oh my goodness, he banked it in. Gonzaga has won the game.
Wow.
Cry in your pillow. Unbelievable. Suggs hit a runner. Bank shot going home. The Bruins are going home.
Oh, that's good. Cry on your pillow.
Oh, yeah, that's a classic. See, I grew up as a Cardinals fan, and Mike Shannon was always drunk about halfway through, and so he would be crying your beer. So.
Oh, yeah, there you go. See, and I don't know if I could be that emotional about my team and doing that and not just cuss out loud all over the place.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know.
No, you as an Arkansas fan, you would have come unglued.
All right, and I got one more radio call, and what I want you to get out of this one is the passion. Okay, the passion of this radio.
Yeah, who's
call.
this?
I thought the first one was pretty passionate.
Yeah, This is the Westwood One Spanish radio with Rafael Hernandez Brito and Carlos Morales. Here we go. I don't have a clue what they're saying, but I know exactly what they're.
29 puntos para Juzang, el triple en camino. Llegaron las 12 para la Cenicienta.
I got good night UCLA at the end.
I got Suggs. So I think it was the same that they knew with the soccer game. Go!
Yeah, I know. It was so. I mean, I heard that on the radio, and I was like, I'm pulling. That's the best
classy.
thing I've heard.
That's epic. So,
I love it.
Hector and Boleyn love that.
No, that's good. That's good. Anyways, so that was my best of the weekend. Was that game, and that ending was great. All right, worst, Terry. Let's wrap it up. What's your worst?
I
of the
am
weekend?
Totally deferring my time to you, Tanner.
Absolutely. We don't even need to share.
There's nothing else. Windshields, cell phones. So
we had stuff happen, sick babies, whatever. But Tanner, you deserve it.
Your rash, your swelling.
I wrote down. Well, see, that was the worst of the last week's podcast. Was the rash and the medical.
But it continued on.
But we do have a time limit.
Yeah, I wrote down my 12-hour stretch from the hot place here. So Friday night, me and Ashley are having some fun, and we have some family time, and we go hang out with some friends at their house, Austin and Bailey's house, and we're eating some pizza and playing a game or whatever. And no, you didn't get invited, Andrew. We didn't want you to come over.
Trust me, that's not what I'm saying. But keep going.
Anyways, and so we leave about 9:30, I'd say, and we are on the road, the back roads back to Saltillo, and I run over a screw. We found a screw in my tire, but I get a flat tire out in the middle of nowhere at 10 o'clock at night, and it's cold.
Oh, it's dark out there too.
Remember that weekend was cold and whatever. So I'm out there changing the donut, putting the donut on. Yes, Tanner knows how to change a tire.
Boston, Bailey and Austin live 30 miles from a pole light. So.
Exactly. Yeah. Yes, I know.
Good old Eggville.
Yeah. And so Austin comes out and he brings his work truck because it's got blue lights and he can keep us safe. He said there's meth users and everything out there. I don't know.
He's blue lighted me once.
Yeah. So he was helping me out or whatever. Anyways, I put the donut on and the donut's flat. So we roll into Saltillo.
Are we eating donuts?
At this point,
donut?
At this point, it's about 10:45, 11 o'clock, and we roll into that gas station in down that Chevron in Saltillo, and so I can put some air in the tire at the pump or whatever. I got to go in and get some quarters because I got to go to quarters. And I was just the riffraff that was in that gas station. I was so embarrassed to live in Saltillo. I was like, what? And, is this what happens in downtown? Anyways, so flat tire. Whatever. All right. So Saturday morning rolls around. Ashley wakes me up at 6:45 real early. Thank you. And I go to Walmart to get the tire, either get a new tire or get it patched or whatever. I don't know what I'm going to do with this tire. So I go to Walmart real early. The girl's late getting there. I'm already I've got stuff to do this morning because I loaded all the sound system to take, but I didn't put it in the car.
Pretty busy weekend.
Pretty busy morning. Yeah. I just had it ready. So all I got to do is go load it up, put it in the van and go. So, but now I'm going to be late doing that because of this tire situation. Anyways, thankfully they took about an hour to patch the tire, and got out to Walmart, went home, switched vans, went to the park and put Jared Harris let me borrow his big speakers, put those out there. I go back to the church to load up the van, get the rest of the stuff, good to go. So as I'm carrying stuff to the car, I don't even know what happened, but I had my phone in my hand and I'm carrying little things at this point. And I just dropped my phone and it hits perfectly and just shatters everywhere. I mean, the front glass works, so I'm thankful for that, but the back glass is completely shattered. So now I'm angry. I'm like, okay, this is dumb. All right. So I'm loading.
That's not all he said.
I load up the rest of the sound equipment, and all that's left is the 6-foot lifetime table. So I shove that in on top of all the equipment. Fits like a glove. Man, this is great. Let's go. Let's go do this thing. Pulling into the park, I take a curve. I guess I wasn't going fast, but the table just gave away, and I had my hand up there. And when I turned, I think I looked to make sure nobody was coming, and I lost the table. Boom. Comes sliding in, shatters the front windshield. I mean, just
it went through the windshield.
There's a nice gaping hole there where it actually hit the mirror, and the mirror, I guess, table
knocked
mirror
out the windshield.
Shattered things. So now I'm just like, I want to go home. I'm done. This tire, this morning, this phone, this car. I'm out. I quit.
Where was your joy in the journey?
There was no joy in the journey Saturday morning. And, of course, Terry's out the front gate telling everybody as they walk in,
hey, go talk to Tanner.
Go talk to Tanner. He's having a great morning. Yeah. So, anyways, that's
what I do.
That was my worst of the weekend. And I know that was a long worst, but you know what? We made it through.
That's right.
We're getting the windshield fixed. Russ is taking care of me. And I'll eventually get a new phone, and we'll see.
I've got to be honest with you.
Happens.
I just sort of zoned out of that whole story. Once you talked about flat donuts, that's my worst nightmare because I love donuts. So, I don't.
Y'all have anything to add to the worst?
Thank you, Parks and Rec, local stuff. Recommendation, go check out your local parks. No, they were just awesome to work with and stuff.
Oh, we're talking about the worst.
Oh, no. Parks and Rec are good. I just made a local recommendation. Sorry, I was still voting to beat Chuck on the.
Oh, golly. Oh, I'm going to have like 1,000
You're
prompts
going
on that
down.
one. Yeah. All right. Well, I guess that wraps up the Connect Church podcast. Thank you for hanging in with us, having fun with us. We will see you
Saturday night.
Missions potluck Saturday night at 6:00. Bring a covered dish of your favorite ethnic food, and we will eat it up. All right.
Peace.
Bye.